Welcome back to Top of the Standings. A lot of crazy stuff has happened since our last episode, including the Dodgers striking back against the Astros, the Battle of LA between the Lakers and the Clippers, or should I say the Battle of the Bubble, and the start of the NHL Playoffs. It's all coming up next with your hosts, Andrew Hale and Jotham Israel. But first, a message from our amazing sponsor, Anchor. Oh no, the MLB, once again. Is it in jeopardy?
Of course it is, man. I mean, the cases we knew this was going to happen eventually, but this early in the season, bro, this is just embarrassing. Not just on the league's part, but the players especially, because there have been moments where they have not been socially distancing and wearing masks in the dugout and stuff and being as safe as clearly possible. There have been teams that have not been as strict on their, you know, quarantining policies and stuff like that. And that might have been, what caused all this stuff. And it sucks.
Yeah, it really does because the season was just starting to heat up too, and I hope it continues. Aaron Judge hits 6 home runs in 5 games, first to do it as a Yankee since A-Rod, and then we have the Dodgers and the Astros going at it again, mini fireworks.
Mm.
Nothing too exciting happened, but still some animosity in between the two. But I like you said, I think players should be better. I think they should wear masks. They should socially distance when they have to, and obviously, like they haven't, and that may be the downfall of the season, and which is unfortunate to say.
Yeah, and the thing about it is I saw another hint of Rob Manfred's inconsistency. Like one moment he was threatening to shut the league down as soon as today. We
Yeah,
seen the end of the season today. We could have, but
yeah,
Manfred, us baseball fans, we get to live another day.
that it's not been good at all. Like with the Cardinals, their series have been getting canceled. The Marlins, their series has been getting canceled. And back on the Cardinals, they were supposed to play the Tigers today, but it got postponed. So I think they play normally on Tuesday, and Wednesday they're doing a doubleheader, which is kind of weird. But also, the series was supposed to be two in Detroit, two in St. Louis, and it just seems like the MLB wants to stay away from St. Louis because the Tigers will actually be the away team for the last 2 games of the series.
Mm, interesting. But the Cardinals, they're the first team in the Midwest to have this outbreak. It's been all East Coast, Phillies, um, Marlins. It's been those teams on the East Coast. But the Cardinals have started to bring it to the Midwest a little bit. And I think if anybody in the West has an outbreak, I think Manfred's going to really have a tough decision on his hands.
Yeah, I agree. Because if there's been so many outbreaks, like you said, in the East, now in the Midwest, and if it does go to the West, yeah, there's probably no choice but to shut it down.
Yeah, he separated the divisions for the sole purpose of keeping the outbreak away from other divisions.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope it stays away, but like we said earlier, it's pretty inevitable at this point.
Yeah, and another sign of doom might be when the networks that are broadcasting, MLB games like MLB Network and ESPN and TBS, they were told to look for alternative programming just in case the league shuts down. That is not a good sign at all.
Yeah, when you see the headline as told to prepare for anything, that's not a good sign at all.
Ugh. Oh my gosh! But that's just another sign to show you that the MLB is looking like a really really dumb league compared to the others.
Yes,
Very,
yes, they sure are. They sure are.
and it's sad to see. Although the NFL is not that far away from them, we'll get to them later. But I mean, the MLB had so many swings and misses, literally, and it's
Yeah,
just it's embarrassing on their part. The postponed series, the jagged season, it it's just not looking good. I hope. I mean, we're gonna. obviously keep watching baseball while we can, of course, because we don't even know how long this is gonna go. It feels like we're already in the midst of the 60-game season, but it's only been what, 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like we said, we hope the season is able to continue, but if there are multiple outbreaks again, I think the best bet would to be to shut down the season for sure.
Yeah, that's the only direction we can go. But I'm gonna bring some light into this MLB situation with the baseball that has been played. I mean, we're seeing some interesting stuff out here, man. I mean, the Cubs are leading the NL Central. We actually have a race in the AL Central. A race. It is a race.
Yeah.
That whew,
Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
yeah, and who also would have thought that the only team that would really be out it is the Royals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. I would have never thought this. This is crazy.
Yeah, hey, I'm not complaining. I mean, and ever since I was like, the Sox, are they getting a little overhyped? I mean, I hope they're not getting overhyped. Ever since I said that, bro, they haven't lost since. 4 straight wins. They went from 1-4 to 5-4, and they're second in the AL Central behind the Twins. Good, and I mean, good turnaround. This one guy on the roster, he went 4 for 5 against Kansas City. I was like, oh, okay, okay.
Mm. Mm.
And then this guy, Luis Robert, one of our top prospects, he's been hitting really really good as of late. And I'm just like, I mean, we're winning, and we got some young guys that are stepping up, and it's a different guy every time. And I'm just like, this this Sox team is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, when you see different players having success, that means that the team usually is pretty good because to be successful, you have to have everyone performing at almost the same pace. If you don't, then you're not going to be good. But like you said, if multiple players are performing well, hey, the White Sox could go pretty far.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, with how this season's going, and with the lack of fans, and lack of adversity when you're doing road playoff games, I mean, you never know. And that goes for wild card teams too. We can't be surprised to see a wild card team make a run, especially
Yeah, I
now.
mean, obviously, we've said this in the past two episodes. Anything can happen in a 60-game season. So if we do see a wild card team like the Nationals last year, I would not be surprised one bit.
You can't be, because this is the state of the MLB right now. But what's also crazy, and I'm gonna go to the AL East now. Who would have thought that we would be able to say this late into the season that the only other team outside of the Yankees in the AL East with a winning record is the Baltimore Orioles?
Absolutely no one. No one.
The
No one. Not
Orioles.
one person would pick the Orioles to even do somewhat decent. No one. That like the Orioles. It's the Orioles. They haven't been successful since probably 2014, and they had the first pick 2 years ago. So for them to be behind the Yankees is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the Red Sox at the bottom too. That the AL East is just weird.
It,
I'm just gonna say that
yeah,
right now. The
yeah.
AL East is weird.
It always seems to be a little bit weird though. We saw Tampa Bay make the playoffs last year. The Red Sox struggle a lot. Like this is
Yeah, I
crazy.
I have no words. And Tampa Bay, they were 4-1. Then they lost their last five. Now they're fourth in the division. I'm like, yikes!
Yeah.
Like, teams can make runs really quickly. They can turn it around really quickly.
Yeah, they sure can. And that's I guess that's just like you said earlier, the state that we're in. Like we've seen teams like you said, the White Sox. They started off poorly. Now they're 5-4. Like a lot of teams have been making a lot of runs in the
Mm-hmm.
season so far.
And speaking of runs, I want to see if somebody can take the AL West from the Houston Astros, because there have been some teams, in the AL West that have given the Astros a run for their money. I mean, I saw potential in the Angels. Yeah, the Rangers aren't exactly there yet, although they have a beautiful new ballpark.
They sure do.
The Mariners, uh, they might be up to those great start, bad finish type seasons.
Yeah.
Um, but the Athletics, they're doing a really good job too. I mean, they're tied for first in the AL West. Actually, both the A's and the Astros are 5-4, and with the Astros, getting 2 games swept by the Dodgers, that's kind of set them back. And wow, what an emotional series that was, huh?
Yeah. Um but but I don't think anyone should be surprised that Oakland is in second place or tied for first because they have been really the only team contending with Houston in the West for like the past 5 years. And they're not too bad either. They are a good team.
Yeah, but what's jarring about it is the run differential. The Astros have a +11 run differential. Oakland has -3.
Yeah.
So that's very impressive.
Yeah, it is very impressive. I will say that.
And it's also crazy because I mean, sometimes stats can be so deceiving. Going to the National League, stats can be so deceiving sometimes because the LA Dodgers, okay, they're 7-3 and they have a +30 run differential through 10 games. Yet somebody else still is tied for first in the NL West. What?
Hey, it's MLB. Actually, we can call both respective West divisions the Wild Wild West because that's exactly what it is.
Exactly. I mean, it just doesn't seem to matter. Like there's the two teams that you always expect to win the division nowadays, the Astros and the Dodgers. And then there's those like pesky teams that just do not want to go away. Like the Rockies are tied for first. The Athletics are tied for first. The Padres aren't doing too bad. They're behind them. The well, I don't know what the Mariners are going to do. I feel like the Angels could, get hot with the right opponents on their schedule,
Yeah,
but it's like some of this. This is weird, dude. This is so weird.
it is weird, and like you said, that if the Angels find the right opponents, that would be very key. But I think what is more important is if Shohei Otani gets back pitching well. His first outing, he didn't even get an out in the first inning. So
Yee.
if he can find success with pitching again and go back to his American League Rookie of the Year form, I think they could make a run for the top.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to see if he can get back on track with that because he got all this hype and stuff. And I remember a promo opening day. I think it was last year.
Hmm.
Um, when he first came with the Angels, he can run, he can pitch, he can hit. Who gives us Shohei? I'm like, wow, what a fishing rod hook that ESPN just pulled on me. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's funny because ESPN and the MLB did hype him up a ton, calling him the best two-way player since Babe Ruth. And if you get compared to Babe Ruth before you've even played an MLB game, that's crazy. That's a ton of hype and a lot of pressure.
Yeah, yeah, and you better prove it, especially considering you're already playing with who is arguably the best player in the world right now, or maybe even could be the greatest baseball player overall of all time, and Mike Trout.
Yeah, and actually, Shohei didn't. He actually lived up to that in his first season, winning, like I said, the American League Rookie of the Year. So
Hmm.
like I said, I just think he needs to get back on track with his pitching, and then they'll be on their way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, I'm looking forward to. I wish I could watch more Angels games though, man.
Yeah,
It's
me
West
too.
Coast, but yeah, they have a big series coming up against the Mariners, and I say that's big because you know they're both at the kind of the near bottom of their division.
Hmm.
So if somebody gets swept, that would be detrimental. But for the team that sweeps, you're right back in the race with the Astros and the Athletics.
Yeah. So like we said, the Wild Wild West. Anything can happen this year.
Yeah, definitely. And that doesn't just go for the MLB though. How about the NBA, man? We've seen some intense excitement, close games, left, right, up, down, backward, forward, whatever 3D dimension you want to call. It's been close games everywhere, dude.
Yeah, especially on opening night, we had the Pelicans versus the Jazz. And honestly, the Pelicans probably should have made a three for the buzzer beater at the end of the game. It was a close game, again, one score game. And right after that, Lakers versus Clippers, opening night once again, another very close game.
Mm-hmm. And this time, it was actually closer than the first Lakers Clippers opening night.
Yeah,
This was intense. That was an intense game, and we didn't even see the key pieces from the Clippers like Lou Williams. I mean, hey, we haven't even seen these teams at their full strength. What happens when they are going crazy, and we do see fully healthy and loaded rosters? That's going to be crazy to watch. Oh my gosh.
yeah, and even though some players have opted out of the restart, these teams are still stacked. Don't get it wrong. Like these
Mm-hmm.
teams could still easily make a run for a finals championship.
Yeah, definitely. And then you'll open the night like, dude, two games, both decided by 2 points, and could have been altered with a game-winning three-pointer at the buzzer.
Yeah, that
You
would
can't get
that's
more exciting
intense.
than that.
That is
Yeah,
intense.
yeah, dude, that is very, very intense. And then the next day, they didn't even disappoint. They went from close games to absolute Texas-style shootouts. Did you hear about the record that the NBA set?
Yes, 128.3 points per game that day, that respective day. That's insane. That's the
That's a
that's
oh
that's
my
crazy.
gosh. That's a record for a 5+ game slate. You know how insane that is? I mean, I understand there's high scoring, games in our day and age because we shoot three pointers a lot in this generation. But dude, 128 points per game throughout the league, not just with two teams and one game. We're talking about a 5+ game slate in one day. That is crazy.
Yeah, and what's even crazier, the lowest amount of points a team scored was 112. 112. That's
By
not
the
low.
Celtic
That's not
and the
low.
Wizards.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't. That was a high score. I don't know why. This is I. Why was everyone scoring so much? It's crazy.
I have no idea. I mean, heck, when you have Damian Lillard, Giannis, Jason Tatum, James Harden, Luka Doncic, and Devin Booker playing on the same day, you're prone for some high scoring games.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
But that's ridiculous. I mean, the Kings were getting up there, the Suns were getting up there, the Grizzlies were getting up there. We had two overtime games that day too, which is a big reason why. But
Yeah,
still,
definitely. Yeah, it's crazy. Especially the Rockets and the Mavericks. A final of 153 to 149. That's crazy.
shootout, and that's Texas. Right? I just thought about. I did say Texas style shootout, and those two teams, the highest scoring games, came from two teams from Texas.
You sure
Oh
did.
my
That's
gosh,
funny. That's funny.
I didn't even realize that. I promise you, that was not, when I said Texas style shootout, that was not intentional. I was just saying Texas style shootout because Texas. That's literally all. That's literally the only reason I said that. I had completely forgot that the two teams that were the highest scoring game in the day was from Houston and Dallas.
That's funny.
Oh man, add that to the list of coincidences.
Yes, that added.
Yeah, dude. But I mean, outside of that, the first 2 days of NBA coming back. I mean, it's been the playoff races has been closer, and we've seen the team clinch. The Mavericks. Well, we already knew the Mavericks were going to basically get in because the AC is so far away from them. We already knew that the Mavericks were going to get in, but they clinched the playoff spot. The Mavericks.
Mm,
Um, they're literally 7 games ahead of the AC the Grizzlies, which the Grizzlies have been kind of uh, hibernating. They're getting kind of cold. They've lost their last three, and the Spurs, the Pelicans, and the Blazers are hot on their heels. And the Suns and the Kings aren't really out of it either. They're only 4 games behind um, the Grizzlies. And actually, it's a closer race than you think. The Suns are, last in the West bubble. They are, 28 and 39. But the the San Antonio Spurs are that 9 seed, and as you know, the 9 seed will get a play-in date with the 8 seed, and you know whoever wins that game gets a date with the number 1 seed.
Mm.
As we know that, but the Spurs and the Suns are only 2 games apart.
Yeah, that's actually that sentence right there. Who it's 2020. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It's 2020. But the Suns, like you said, I think they can make a run. I do. They have a solid team. But hey, any Portland's there. Obviously, the NBA wants Zion to be in the playoffs. That's the only reason they expanded it. Um, the Kings have looked pretty good. Anything can happen again. Wild Wild West.
hmm
Memphis just I guess they need to continue. They need to continue playing well. John Morant needs to go back to his probably rookie of the year form. We'll see.
Yeah,
But yeah, they definitely need to play better for sure to maintain that eighth spot.
yeah, definitely. But even if the Grizzlies do hang on to the A spot going into that playing game, they're going to have to play that game
Yeah.
playing game, and it's inevitable right now because there's no way that you're going to have 5 teams on your heels and there's going to be no playing game. For a playing game to happen, the 9 seed would need to be at the most 4 games behind the A seed.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, if Memphis and Phoenix, now Memphis is the AC. Phoenix is in last place in the bubble. If those 2 teams are, you know, satisfying that 4 game threshold, there's no way the teams in between are going to, fall out. There's no way all 5 of these teams are going to fall out to the point where the Grizzlies can just have that date with the Lakers, presumably.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's pretty crazy.
That's the West,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
sure
2020.
is. Sure is. 2020 West, Wild Wild West. Crazy.
Yeah, definitely. You can't really say the same about the East because I mean the playoff, slate has been, basically set. We know the 8 teams that are going to be in the playoffs because the Wizards are 7 games behind the Nets and they only have 6 games left to play. So they're out.
Yeah.
The Wizards are out. They're basically just playing spoiler. But the only thing, I mean, the Magic and the Nets, they're basically fighting for the 7 seed and a trip away from Giannis, basically.
I think any team that has to face Giannis will be will be shut down easily. I don't see anyone beating the Bucks. But hey, we might get a rematch from last year. Magic Raptors. How would you feel about that?
I feel really sad. I feel really satisfied about that because the Magic being my favorite team in the league and the Raptors being right there next to them. I really respect the two franchises. I love both of their fan bases. Both of the teams have had some really really good looks. Good. I really love both of their uniforms. Um, it's really cool to see how these 2 teams could possibly meet in the playoffs again. And with no Raptors, with the Raptors not having home field advantage, I mean, I think the Magic might have a better chance this year. But only thing is, Jonathan Isaac tore his
Yeah.
ACL,
Yeah.
which
Definitely their
sucks.
best defensive player too. So he would probably be guarding Pascal Siakam, and as we saw last year in the finals, if Pascal Siakam is not guarded, they are going to be very successful.
Yeah, they don't call him Spicy P for no reason,
Yeah.
especially after that finals.
Yes.
Top
But
30.
hey, we saw the Magic go against the Raptors, and we saw the Magic steal game 1. So in a
Mm-hmm.
neutral environment, I think they could steal more than one game. And that's not just coming from me because I'm an Orlando native and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of the Magic, but I truly do think in a neutral environment that the Magic could easily maybe pull an upset. I'm not gonna say easily. I'm gonna say possibly.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. Because I mean, although this is another thing that might factor into it. Because with the NBA, they did their own little setup to try to replace the lack of fans. They're having virtual fans. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's much better than what the MLB is doing with the cardboard cutouts because that has no life in them.
that is true. And it's funny, we have seen a few notable players in the stands. We've seen Paul Pierce. We've seen Paul Pierce. We've seen, like, I think Dirk was there one game. It's funny.
Jason Tatum's son,
Yeah, I think Chris
Chris
Paul's
Paul's
son.
son.
Yeah, it's funny just trying to pick out some of the former players and people in the crowd.
Yeah, that it's awesome to see. I mean, we knew Paul Pierce was gonna pop out because he's been popping out of Celtics games for I don't know how long.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's very satisfying to see. Um, but as for the rest of the East, I mean, we know the Magic and the Nets are basically fighting for the seventh spot.
Hmm.
Let me see about these Indiana Pacers is because I don't know where they'll end up. I mean, yeah, they're at 5 right now, but I could very well see them jumping the Heat. I could very well see them keeping that 5 spot, and I could very well see the Sixers jumping them and the Pacers dropping to 6. I do not
Oh
know,
yeah,
but what I've seen from T.J. Warren, that boy dropped 53. Of all the players to drop the, oh my gosh, bro, of all the players to be the first to drop 50 plus in the bubble, it was T.J. Warren.
yeah. I was just about to say the exact same thing. Who would have thought T.J. Warren would be the first player? Not Damian Lillard, not Luca, not Zion, not LeBron, not AD, but
Not PG.
not PG, not Kawhi, but T.J. Warren. That. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
They caught me off guard, and especially considering it was a close game too. Like they needed every single last of those 53.
Yeah, they did.
Oh my gosh! And that was a masterful, beautiful game for the Pacers. Maybe I mean I didn't watch the full game because I don't think it was available for us. But dude,
Mhm.
I mean, that was a really, really, really good win for the Pacers because they got to win over the team that they're basically fighting for perennially for that 5 spot or above.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be close, but I know someone's definitely salty about T.J. Warren. The Phoenix Suns.
Oh yeah,
The Phoenix Suns traded T.J. Warren to the Pacers for cap space, cash.
for cash.
Well,
Oh man.
well, T.J. Warren definitely cashed out. He definitely did. 53. That's crazy.
Okay, that was good. That was good.
You like that?
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, dude. That was good. But seriously, dude, that's salty because I thought there were two things that people really needed to take a look at this. Number one, obviously, you said the Phoenix Suns just gave him away for cash, and he drops 53 on the Sixers. That's one thing. But another thing is that they were down going into the fourth quarter, and Joel Embiid dropped 41.
Yeah, yeah. If you drop 41 in the loss, I wouldn't be too happy either. So that,
Joel had 41 and 21 for crying out loud.
yeah, he definitely should be salty, and I think we saw him salty in the huddle. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, definitely, dude. That's as salty as you can get, dude. Because that's like I have 41 points, 21 rebounds, and we still lost by 6.
Yeah, that's just tough luck. I mean, all credit to T.J. Warren. Like, if you are
Oh,
able
definitely.
to drop 53 and have an opponent drop 41 and 21, that's impressive. And you win
Yeah.
too. That's impressive for sure.
hmm And that, like I said, man, that was a big win for the Pacers. They could very well. I mean, hey, I mean, teams, have had a relatively, I mean, schedules are varied, and teams are you know it's really depending on it, but the Pacers have a relatively easy schedule compared to most others. Like their next two games are against the Magic and the Suns. What a
Yeah.
reunion that will be for TJ Warren. Those are two very winnable games.
Yeah. Um yeah, they are. And I we said this earlier, but they could easily jump up past the Heat.
Yeah, and they have not one but two games against the Heat.
Ooh,
Next week, two
those are
games against the
big
Heat.
games. Big games.
Yeah, very big games, and the Pacers are only 2 games behind. Those 2 games could very well decide who gets that 4 seed.
Yeah,
Could very
yeah,
well. But
definitely.
outside of that, I mean the remainder of the Pacers schedule: Magic, Suns, Lakers, Heat, Rockets, Heat. That's not that hard. The Lakers, that's going to be difficult. The Rockets are kind of inconsistent to me at times, although they
Yeah,
did get a huge win against the Bucks last night. Huge stop by
yeah,
James Harden. But I was very unaware of the feud that was going on between James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I didn't know people was hyping up, the matchup like they were. I mean, I knew that this was a matchup pitting the last two MVPs against each other, but I
yeah.
didn't know there was so much subtle smoke behind this matchup.
Hey, I actually went to Bucks Rockets last March, and I saw the feud right in front of my eyes. They were going back and forth, and especially due to the fact that James Harden, he always feels like he was better than Giannis, always saying that he deserves the MVP or whatnot. If I were Giannis, I definitely take some exception for him saying that. And like we saw last night, there was definitely a feud going on. We could easily tell.
What a juicy matchup that was, and that could very well be a finals preview.
Yeah, definitely. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, hey, anybody can come out the West at this point,
Yeah.
but I mean, we'll have to wait and see. The Western Conference playoffs is going like I've been saying this all year long, ever since the Golden State dynasty really got stopped on its tracks. The Western Conference playoffs are going to be up for grabs. Up for grabs, I repeat.
Yeah, it's crazy because this year we've seen the Lakers have some very inconsistent losses. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've had some very bad losses, and I would not be surprised to see them getting knocked out first round. I'm gonna say this here first.
Ooh.
On top of the standings, you heard it here first. The Lakers could easily go out first round.
Yeah, I'm definitely clipping this if that happens.
Yeah, now they're about to win the finals. Great.
Well, you never know. The power of jinxing is very eminent between us.
Dude, I have not had good luck with
I don't think I've
predictions.
had either. Well, actually, I think I might have had a little bit of luck sometimes, but I've had some. I think the bad ones outshine the good ones.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I mean, same with me too. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. I did predict in our school newspaper that LSU was going to choke.
win the national championship.
I did. I said
Oh, choke.
I said that they were not. I said that they were going to be very inconsistent like they usually are, and then they end up winning the national championship. So, you know,
Oh,
not good luck at all. But speaking of jinxing and stuff, the NHL playoffs. I
oh boy.
had an awful jinx. I was watching the Oilers versus the Blackhawks, and I said after the Oilers went up 1-0 that it was going to be an easy series, a clean. Now I didn't say sweep, but I definitely said an easy series for the Oilers. Then about less than a minute later, the Blackhawks score, and then they score again, and then they
Mhm.
score again, and
Mhm.
then they score again.
Mhm.
So I did poorly jinx the Oilers, and
Yeah.
I have not had good luck so far.
Yeah. That was a It's like they heard you all the way from Edmonton. It was like, oh my, like I do not like the Blackhawks. Next 7 minutes pass. Here comes 4 goals in the same period.
Definitely
Wow.
not my best prediction slash jinx.
Yeah, and the Oilers tried to make it a game. I mean, they were down 6-2 going into the third period. They put up two in the third to cut the lead at two. But I mean, obviously, too little, too late. That first period absolutely just destroyed the Oilers.
Yeah, it sure did. But on to the rest of the playoffs. Who do you think
Oh
has been
yeah,
playing
definitely.
playing the best so far?
Ooh man, it's so tough because it's we've only seen one game of the qualifying series, and we've only seen a couple of round robins so far. But I will say this: I really do like what I'm seeing out of the Flyers.
Oh yeah,
I really like
definitely.
what I'm
I'd
seeing out
say
of the
so.
Flyers.
For
Yeah, that.
me, I'd say Carolina. I think Carolina's
Okay,
playing the best
yeah,
hockey. They've
playmaking has
just
been really good on their part.
Yeah, playmaking for sure. They have gotten tons of opportunities. They took game one pretty easily, and they were playing well up until the first period or the end of the first period today. I don't know the score right now, but
It's
I
3-1
do.
Canes.
3-1 Canes. You heard it here. So, with that being said, I do think that they have been playing the best so far.
Mm, very interesting. I mean, another thing to be impressive about that's impressive about this so far, assuming that they can hold this 2 goal lead for the rest of the third period, is that I mean they are playing a team that swept them in the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean, playoffs and regular season is a whole different animal. Both totally different
mhm.
environments, especially with no fans, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But I see a lot of potential in the Hurricanes. The Rangers, like you said, they swept the Hurricanes in the regular season. I don't see them doing that in the playoffs, though. Knock on wood. Hey, I'm not going to jinx it this time. I'm not going to jinx it this time, but I do think the Hurricanes will get past the Rangers. Next week, we're going to see the Rangers in the second round.
Don't yeah, I'm very confident.
Yeah.
But if we don't win this series, I'm clipping this too, and I am going to be haunted for the rest of the summer.
I would be again. I would be like 0-3 at this point for predictions.
Oh my gosh! But I mean, hey, that's not too bad considering what's going on in the rest of the league. I mean, we've seen some upsets, man. The Canadians over the Penguins. How about that game?
Yeah, that was a very very exciting game, especially in overtime. I didn't watch the first uh 2.5 periods, but I did see the end of the third and the overtime period. But it was a very very exciting game. Both goaltenders playing spectacular. Both it was
Hmm.
just very intense the entire time. No one was letting up at all.
Oh, definitely. And his name is Jeff. Man, I didn't expect him to. I didn't expect that man Jeff Petrie to hit a shot like that. I mean, it was just so like out the blue. Like I did not
Yeah,
see it coming.
I didn't either. Yeah, it was pretty crazy because I think it was like a three on two. Actually, no, it was a 2-on-3, and they somehow managed to score. That's pretty crazy. That's impressive.
Yeah, I was shell shocked a little bit because it was a funky bounce
Yeah,
that it was a funky bounce in the middle of that, and Petrie just took it, sidestepped, and fired. And I was like, "Whoa, what?" And I hear the broadcaster going crazy. He scores, Jeff Petrie. I'm like, "Wait, what? What
yeah,
just happened?"
it was a very impressive shot.
Yes, it always surprises me how hockey players know the instant that they score, they just go into full celebratory mode.
Yeah, they
Like
go into
as
the
soon as they,
corner, and everyone
yeah,
dunks on them.
it's such a quick transition because like 1 second it's all serious and you don't know if you don't know where the shot's gonna go. The next second you're skating in the corner, one legged, stick in the air, some type of famous hockey celebration, and
Yeah,
now the benches are emptying in on you. It's just
yeah,
like that is so unexpected.
yeah. I love seeing it too. I definitely think hockey celebrations are definitely the most unique celebrations from any sport for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But I know Winnipeg is not celebrating, especially after the Scheifele injury.
Yeah, I mean, we bad blood already. Not even 2 games in, and there's coaches are talking trash back and forth. The Jets coach says that Tuchuk's hit on Scheifele was very filthy and disgusting, and he called it intentional.
Mm,
So with that, well, if another coach, if the opposing coach calls out a player on the other team, and he says that his
Mm-hmm.
hit was intentional. That's bad blood right there. That's when you know
Yeah.
that things are going to heat up for the rest of the series.
Yeah, then a fight happened right after
Yeah,
there. That just goes to show signs of continuation of this bad blood. And I would have expected to see this stuff from Oilers Flames, not Jets Flames.
yeah,
But hey,
I will take it.
yeah, I mean, bad blood can happen in an instant.
Yeah, it sure can. Just like in an instant, one hit, and then the rest of the series changed with a different demeanor from both teams.
Mm-hmm. You know, I will say the first day was a very good appetizer. I mean, I'm gonna lie to you, Panthers Islanders, off the top of my head, it doesn't really sound all that exciting,
Yeah,
but I mean, hey, the visual approach that the NHL took to the arenas really helps out with all of its games.
dude, I really am a fan of Edmonton's arena. I just like the screens in the background with almost like a, a dark background similar to like the Lakers and the Staples Center. I really do enjoy watching hockey, and I thought it was going to be a lot worse because, in my opinion, I think hockey with no fans would have been the most boring sport to watch because the
Mm-hmm.
fans bring so much excitement to the games, and the NHL did a fantastic job deciding what to do with Edmonton and Toronto. I really do credit them with that.
Yeah, definitely, especially after that incident at Rogers Place with the I think it was the rain
Yeah, the flooding. Yeah,
that damage. Yeah, especially after that, Rogers. They got to give a round of applause for the Edmonton Oilers and the Rogers Center maintenance people who kept that arena intact and ready to go for this these playoffs. This is very impressive what we're seeing.
yeah. And speaking of a little mess up, I was watching. I can't remember what game it was, but I just remember after maybe someone scored or a timeout, the lights turned off. It was completely dark for a good maybe 2 seconds. It was really random.
Hmm.
So other than that, the stadiums have been looking pretty good. I'm very impressed with what the NHL did.
Super Bowl 47. Anybody?
Hey, I didn't think about that. That is a good comparison.
Yeah,
Uh,
just out the blue. Although
yeah.
the game isn't as big,
No.
it's still a good comparison.
Yeah.
But I mean, the NHL didn't stop with the action. Yesterday they kept it going, and it started well with an upset, of course.
Yeah.
How? I mean, the Coyotes over the Predators.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me. When I think of playoffs, I never have the Arizona Coyotes in mind. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't.
I don't either.
So, for them to beat the Predators, who have been historically very good, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially in the first. Well, I'm going to call this the 0th round, which is technically the first round because, well, it's still a round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, dude, the Coyotes came out and got a dub. That that speaks volumes. And if they can come out in the next game and give the Predators a run for their money in that game, win or lose, I think we might have a surprisingly interesting series on our hands. I think that might go 5.
I agree. I definitely agree because like you said, it speaks a lot about what Arizona is doing. Like who thought Arizona would be able to beat Nashville? I didn't. And for them to potentially go into a close series, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Nashville is a perennial, Stanley Cup contender, but they're definitely not as bad as the Coyotes. The Coyotes weren't even a playoff contender in
Yeah,
my eyes.
they weren't. Yeah.
So this is this is very impressive what we're seeing out of Arizona.
Hey, I guess Arizona doesn't want their conference to be moved. Hey, they don't want to be replaced by the Kraken
Oh,
because
that's how
that
it's pronounced.
it, how else would it be? What were you thinking?
I mean, I yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out because well, I always thought it was Kraken. I don't know how it's
Hmm.
pronounced, but I'll have to find it out. We need some. We need one of the team officials to say something about it.
I'm pretty sure it's the Kraken, but um,
I'll go with Kraken.
like I said before, the Kraken is actually going to take Arizona's spot in I think the Pacific, right? So
The
either
Coyote.
yeah, the Coyotes. The Kraken's going to take the Coyote spot in the Pacific. So and then the Coyotes are going to get moved to I can't remember,
The
maybe the
Central.
Central. I think the Central.
Yeah,
So
the Central, because the Western Conference divisions is Pacific and Central.
so I think the Coyotes are going to be moved to the Central. I think that's what they said. But hey, I guess the Coyotes do not want to be moved to the Central.
Yeah, I mean, reasonably enough, I guess. But hey, who knows? I mean, I guess they're making a good run while they're still in the Pacific, and hey, if they can get past the Predators, um, hey, that I mean, it goes to show that players are developing. They get playoff experience, which is something that they definitely would not have gotten not for this pandemic.
Yeah,
So yeah, this is a good time for any non-playoff contender. The 12 seeds, the 10 seeds, the 11 seeds. This is a really valuable time because if you lose, you get a chance at Lafreniere. But if you win, you get to develop your players more. You get to get playoff experience, which is something that you definitely would not have gotten had the season not been shut down and we would have been doing regular playoffs. So I think the the non-playoff contenders at first were the most beneficial out of this 2014 playoff format.
yeah, I definitely say so. But moving along, I think again, year after year, Maple Leafs another choke, another choke, another choke, and I don't
Uh,
think this year's going to be any different. They have the longest Stanley Cup drought, which is crazy to think about. Original 16, that's crazy. But
mm,
again, I haven't seen any success come from the Maple Leafs in their playoff experience. Like
mm.
I don't know. It's crazy how they have been really historically bad in the playoffs, and who they're going against is not a dud either because the Blue Jackets, to me, the most impressive run last year.
Yeah, that sweep over the Lightning. I
Yeah,
know it was very satisfying to you, but it it was a very good, very very great performance by the Blue Jackets then too.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, a sweep against the team who had the best season in NHL history. That's impressive. And this year,
The best
I
record.
think they will go pretty far as well.
Mm. Wow, dude. I mean, the Blue Jackets are not a team to sleep on.
Yeah,
They're not a team to sleep
they
on at all. And if the Maple is this seems like a matchup just destined to see the Blue Jackets win.
yeah,
I don't know
it
why,
does.
but
It
it
really does.
it really does because the Maple Leafs suck in the first round. The Blue Jackets do somewhat well in the
Oh,
first round.
holding nothing back from the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, and I love the Maple Leafs. I really do. And it's just like it sucks because like I'm aware of their playoff failures because I've seen some of them with my own eyes. I remember waking up on a Sunday morning, getting ready to watch their game 6 against the Bruins in Toronto, and I see all the fans outside Scotiabank Arena going crazy, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, game 6, let's end the Bruins right now. And then they lose to stand up losing game 6, losing game 7, and staying their butts right in Toronto watching the rest of the playoffs. I'm like, oh my gosh, they can't catch a break with these game 7s or the first round.
Yeah, they're I guess they're just not a playoff team because they won 36 and 34 and 9 in the regular season, which is a pretty decent season. Better than the Blue Jackets. But again, the regular season, the playoffs, whole different animal. And I guess the Maple Leafs have not been able to conquer the beast of the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, they're always that team that's there, but just can't get there, you know?
Yeah, similar to their neighbors, the Raptors. They couldn't get out of the first round until last year. So I guess something about Toronto in the first round. I don't know.
Yeah, not just hockey, I guess.
Yeah.
But you mentioned to me earlier how the Wild and the Canucks. has some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't think there was going to be that much bad blood, but a minute and 18 seconds into the game, a fight, which is kind of random. I didn't know the Wild and the Canucks had any bad blood whatsoever, but I guess
Yeah.
that playoff energy just they brought it. They brought it.
Mm. Yeah, very well. Like Minnesota and Vancouver, that doesn't sound like a rivalry ish, you know, thing when it comes to the cities, especially. But
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, hey,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like
it's crazy.
the score was 3-0, which is it was 2-0, a three an open net goal at the end. But it was funny because I was like, okay, obviously there's bad blood in the game, but a Canucks player actually tried to get into it with a Wild player at like 5 seconds left in the game. He tried to drop the gloves. The Wild player was not going for it, and the Canucks player got ejected. So through the beginning of the game to the end of the game, there was some type of animosity between the two. It's kind of funny. I'm here for
Yeah,
it though.
very
I'm
ill.
here for it though.
Oh yeah, we're always a welcome to a new rivalry to our attention. Always welcome. But dude, I mean, the action is not gonna stop. It's going on right now as we speak. You know, the
Yeah.
the Hurricanes and the Rangers, they're playing right now as we speak. I mean, Hurricanes up 3-1 going into the third period. Um, so the action is not going to stop. But after that, Jets Flames game two. Then we get to see our first doses of the Capitals, Lightning, Stars, and Golden Knights.
Dude, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah,
Golden Knights and Stars. I think that will be a fantastic series. But personally, I'm rooting for the Golden Knights. I've always been a fan of them since they've came into the league, and I think they got robbed last year. But we're not going to speak on that now. It's a
oh
different season. But the Golden Knights, I'm very very excited to see them in the playoffs once again.
yeah. I mean, I like to see teams that are new to the league introduce themselves with a loud voice.
And that's
I
exactly
like it.
what they did.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully, yeah, that they're gonna get a real test with the Stars, man.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I'm really excited because I don't know too much about the Dallas Stars. I haven't been able to watch too many Stars games before they started making the playoffs and stuff and started being really really good. So I'm excited to see what the Mean Green Stars can do.
Yeah, I mean they were not too bad in the regular season. 37, 32, and 8. That's a good season.
Yeah, 82 points. That's not bad. That's not bad. Especially when you had like 10, 12 more games to go.
Yeah, yeah, that is impressive. And like I think a lot of people will, like you said, a lot of people will be introduced to the Stars and how good they are.
Mm-hmm. Should be. I mean, I hope they got their popcorn ready because I mean I feel like Golden Knights Stars is going to be probably the most interesting round robin matchup.
Yeah,
I
I
really
feel
do.
like 50-50. That's up in the air for sure.
Yeah, I have no idea who would win that matchup. I mean I really don't. It's going to be exciting nonetheless.
Yeah.
And by this time next week, this qualifying round will be over and the 16 teams will be set and stuff.
Hey, with that being said, let's talk about our predictions. We said last year, after we watched the first few games, we'd be able to predict who is the Stanley Cup champion. So I think that's what we should do now.
Okay, cool.
This is a tough prediction. I I'd like to pick a sleeper. I think I might go Hurricanes. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I know you're a big fan of the Hurricanes, and I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far. They have looked like the best team for by far, in my opinion. But we also have to wait for the Golden Knights, the Capitals, and the rest of the teams playing in the round robin. But I'm without seeing the Golden Knights and the Stars and the Capitals and the Lightning. I'm still gonna go with the Hurricanes. I feel like the Hurricanes could easily make a run to the top.
Oh, wow. Wow. I did not see that coming.
I
I
probably
didn't see it
yeah,
coming.
I wouldn't have said it if they didn't play so outstanding in the first two games.
Interesting. Oh man, this like you said, man, this is a tough, tough decision. Oh boy. Um, I'm really liking what the Flyers are doing. I
Okay.
really do. I feel like the Flyers are going to make that run. I
I
really
like
do.
yeah. They went
They
41 and 28 and 7. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, and they just. I'm not gonna say that they're just a automatic Stanley Cup contender just because they beat the Bruins, but I feel like they are really exactly what I just said, a Stanley Cup contender. Because I mean they're coming out here, they're beating the best teams night in, night out, and you know they've shown signs of consistency, and it's really something to marvel at, especially with the Flyers, because it's like they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's really good to see because obviously the last time they were really good was when they actually made the Stanley Cup and unfortunately lost a very close game to the Blackhawks, I think 8 years ago or something, maybe 8 or 7 years ago. And I it's really good. I like the Flyers a lot. I just like everything about them. Their jerseys, their logo's pretty cool. I'm a fan. I'm glad they beat Boston. So that's plus one for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I don't blame you for that, man. That's very when any team beats the Boston Bruins, it's always something to celebrate.
That is very true. I agree.
Yeah, sir. But yeah, I got the Flyers as my championship pick.
Okay, I don't disagree. I like the pick. I like the pick a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So is this gonna be it for us?
Yeah,
We've
I
gone
mean
along.
we covered a ton of stuff today. Like this was definitely, in my opinion, our best episode. I hope the viewers can agree
Yeah,
as well.
definitely.
I thought it was our best by far. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I did ask a trivia question last episode.
Yeah, you sure did.
Yeah, who was the last NBA player on the cover of NBA 2K to average 30 points in their next season?
Hmm, that's a tough question. Uh, I'll throw out some guesses. James Harden.
What you say?
James Harden. Is that the answer?
James Harden.
Yeah.
Ooh, very very interesting pick, but nope,
Hmm. Um. How about Kobe? Did Kobe do it?
nope.
All right.
You got one more shot.
I think one more shot. LeBron.
Nope. It
Ah.
was actually Stephen Curry from
Hmm.
2K16. He averaged 30.
Okay. And
Wow.
what year was that?
That was 2K16. That was the 2015 season when he went absolutely crazy. That
Yeah.
MVP, that unanimous MVP season,
Yeah.
which was overshadowed by the 3-1 choke.
Yeah. Hey.
But yeah, Stephen Curry.
Yeah. That's
That was the answer to that question.
that was a good question. A very very good question. But
Yeah,
for this
definitely.
week's question, on the topic of strikeouts and consecutive strikeouts, yesterday we saw Tyler Alexander, as a relief pitcher, strike out 9 straight batters. All 9 batters he faced, he struck out. But he did not break the MLB record with consecutive strikeouts.
Aw.
He tied the American League record, but he did not break the MLB record. So, my trivia question is, who has the MLB record with 10 straight strikeouts? And I'm going to ask a bonus question as well.
Okay.
What team did this pitcher strike out 10 straight batters against? So, what team did this pitcher face, right? And in what year? What year did this happen? What year did this player strike out 10 straight batters for the MLB record?
Which player,
That is
which team, and
this
which year?
Yes, and that is this week's trivia question. It is very difficult. I'm going to say as a hint, it did not happen in this decade, and it did not happen last decade. So somewhere in the 1900s.
Oh boy,
Very
I feel
broad.
like I'm gonna
Very broad.
I feel like I'm gonna have to dive in my history books for this one.
You might have to. And the audience, this is one that you may have to look up because it is not easy and it's probably very not expected. Like you're not probably not going to be able to name this player off the top of your
Okay, this is testing my knowledge real quick.
head. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a lot to talk about. Especially with the sports coming back. It's like this podcast came in right on time with the the restart of all the sports. It's really awesome.
Yeah, perfect timing for sure. We've had a lot of fun. Thank you guys for listening. It has been so much fun to just get all of the sports stuff off of our chests and out there because it's not the same when you're just talking to a friend when you're giving each other your sports predictions, ideas, all that to another person. Like it's been so great to just give it to an audience, and
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely, man. But same time next week.
Yes, sir. All right. If you guys enjoyed, again, please give a 5-star rating on iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Do all that, and you know, it we're having a lot of fun. And lastly, I just thought about this, but if any viewer or audience or listener, if you guys want to send in a question or a topic or whatnot, you can email us at topofthestandings@gmail.com. That is the email. If you have any questions, concerns, topics, any of that, just email us and maybe we'll get back to you. Maybe we'll answer your question on air. Who knows? But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. And yeah, bye.